Hi, I'm Mattlin from FBTWGaming, and I got a question on one of my videos. Like, could I do a video about when to go for wound? I was gonna tell this guy, like, you know what, I could just throw a comment out, and we can be done and damned with this subject real quick. And then I began going through my decision-making process of how I decide to go for wounds. And I started adding on and keep tacking on more variables until I'm like, I gotta build a list. I went from A to J with, you know, how I have internalized this process after 2 years of playing Gigantic. And I was like, well, I guess this is actually a very important video to put together, so let's talk about going for wound. And the first thing you should wonder is, when don't you go for wound? Is there a time that you never do? Yeah, if you're playing solo queue. But dun. I'll be here all week, guys. No, but really, there is a time that you will never go for a wound. And that's when it's an auto wound. Why? Because even if you do nothing, you'll automatically get a wound, so why go for a wound and expose yourselves? It's a little circular logic, but yeah, that's simple. Easy. That's the quickest I could do it. When are you going to get an auto wound? Oh boy. Oh boy. So, we have to look at some math here. Some Guardian math. A Guardian will do between 2,000 and 3,000 damage on its attack. A Guardian's health is 468,000. Got it? So this means that if a Guardian is below half health, a Rampage with 0 shield will auto wound. Well, that's kind of easy. However, once you get a shield going, this becomes a lot more complicated of a process, since the shield stops a certain amount of damage. 100% shield stops all damage. So you can't ever get an auto wound, even if it has like next to no health, if there's 100% shield. Gotta get it good. How much does it block? It's a percentage of the damage, and it also puts a shield that absorbs a certain amount of damage. Oh my god, what the hell am I looking at? I'm not busting out my TI calculator to figure this shit out in the middle of combat. So, let's kind of work a shorthand. At about 50% and lower, you will auto wound if the shield is the inverse minus 10%. What does that mean? I mean, if you have 10% health left, then a 90% shield will still grant you an auto wound. If you have, you know, 20%, an 80% shield. And that's kind of like a rough hand. It's not 100% flawless, and even I've watched people like Rezo, who knows the mechanics and has a lot more better internal, like, judging systems, be like, oh, we're going for wound. Okay, I guess we don't have to wound, that was an auto wound. Oh, well, I don't have to go for wound, this is an auto wound. Shit, I should have gone for wound. Like, that happens, and even he has, like, it's off. So, this is kind of a, you know, baseline for you to judge by. It's not flawless, but it's a start. So yeah, you're gonna get an auto wound, guess what? Set up camp, get a torch, find a closest bloom, and roast some marshmallows, and ignore the screaming. And you will be set. So when should you go for wound when it's not an auto wound? That becomes a lot more complicated. We have to look at a couple of factors. Number one, Guardian's health and Guardian's shield. This is an important factor since, again, we were talking about the shield taking a certain amount of damage to break, and it absorbs, you know, just blocks a certain percentage of damage thrown at it, which makes the shield actually tougher to damage than health. So high health, high shield, don't go for wound. If both, you know, if it has 100% health and gets 100% shield, just pretty much ignore that wound unless there's other, like, amazing circumstances. However, even if it's middling health, you know, 50% health, 100% shield, it's going to be tough to knock down the shield and do damage to the health. Again, you should probably just give it up as a lost cause. If it's low health, high shield, you might be able to get through with it. And if it's low shield, low health, go for it. Someone should be going for it. And again, this is just like a baseline kind of thought. The next part is, how many players are alive on each team? If you're low on players, again, it's going to be hard to go for wound, and if you get the entire team wiped, it takes longer to respawn, and it creates whole other problems. However, there's also the concept of respawn timer for the enemy team. This is very important since the enemy team, if you're attacking the Guardian, is going to spawn really close to you. This creates huge problems, even if you can get the wound. And I used to be on the impression that you go for wound no matter what. This has changed something fierce recently. Because a good team, if let's just say, even if you wipe the team early in the Rampage, well, 20 to 15 seconds later, the whole team is going to be alive with full health. You're going for wound with your whole team. Even if you get the team, if you're at like 25% health at that point, a full team pops off the airship. They're able to wipe you. Well, that sucks, because that's 50 power right away. Then they can take a creature, which is 20 more power. That's 70 power for your 0. And if it was at your 8 point, maybe they steal an orb, you know, this is like 90 to 0, and then you're just like, oh, we've made terrible life choices. So, instead, sit back and you have to look at the respawn timer. Even if you're close to taking a wound, I would almost suggest backing off when the enemy respawn timer reaches about 5. At that point, just start, like, walking backwards. Just start taking your time and walking away from the wound. Because, again, how long stamina takes to recharge. By the time 3 to 4 seconds go, you should have your stamina back up and be able to run away. Maybe somebody stays to finish the wound. You get 1 or 2 kills and hope to make them up later. But don't let your whole team suicide for a wound. It's bad. It's real bad. And if you're going to die anyways, you know, throw your body at the nearest Titan and just be like, take me before the wound ends. Because then you don't grant power. Your team might be down, but, you know, it's a lot harder to figure out. The other question is, how well are you beating these guys? Again, we're looking at these numbers I was throwing around. Let's just say you're all at 50% while you're taking wound. And then the enemy team respawns. Well, if every single one of your, you know, teammates can kill somebody else from 100 without taking 50% of damage, you can wipe the enemy team again and kind of just laugh your way up to the bank. Usually this isn't the case, especially with higher level play, but if you're winning hard, going for wound is easier. Makes sense. Now, here comes a lot more complicated issue, and it's hard to do in solo queue, is you have to figure out enemy location, especially if you're someone like Mozu, Trip, Taito, or Wu. Because you can bait an enemy team to go after another point. Say you attempt to take, I don't know, D from the enemy team on Falls. They all start rushing that direction. As one of these characters, you can slip behind enemy lines and attack the downed creature by yourself, and probably have enough damage to do a wound if it's low enough. Now, here's the important part. This is split pushing in any other type of Moba. You know, you attack one area so that another area can be taken down. It's hard to do in solo play, but you still can if you're a smart enough assassin. So, assassins, don't go looking for kills during Rampage. Instead, see if you can slip behind enemy lines to take wounds. That's tough. Alright, finally, another tough kind of concept is how many of your team is going in. This is simple with competitive play, because your shot caller is going to be like, okay, 2 of you go for wound, the rest of us are going to do X. Simple. In solo queue, you might want to ping. Not that anyone listens to pings. I wasn't about to swear and be angry. No, not at all. Well, and even better, start walking towards the wound. You're going to have to look at your minimap. If anyone comes with you, you're like, okay, yeah, let's go for wound. But that becomes kind of like an on-the-fly call that's really difficult to make. We have a final kind of idea about when to go for wound, and that's what wound it is. I'm almost 100% positive, and someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but the 8,000 health per wound refers to each wound individually, which means it's easiest to take the 4,000 or first wound. So, first wound, you probably want someone, 1 or 2 people to slip back to see if they can secure it. Even if they die afterwards, it's probably worth it, especially if you can defend your own wound. The second wound is going to be, in my opinion, the tough and probably most likely to ignore going for. Why? Well, it's 6,000 is higher than the first one. You know, the enemy team's a little more focused, a little more, you know, concentrated. It's going to be tougher to get. Period. End of discussion. They have more time. Try to get it down so you get an auto wound on your third push, but don't, you know, go nuts. And finally, we have the last wound. If the last wound after Rampage has occurred is below 50%, go for it. Period. You can dive bomb it and likely get it as long as you have a decent amount of health and the enemy team is not super on point. Go for it. Win the game. Even if all of you die, even if your KD suffers for it, who gives a shit? You win. So yeah, that's kind of my guide of when to go for wound. What do you guys think? Do you think I've missed anything? Do you have other plans and other, like, interactions that make you decide to go for wound? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It helps me out a ton. And if you want to see more content for Gigantic, subscribe. Mattlin FBTWGaming signing out.